You know, guys, a game that is very anticipated by a lot of people, and a game that it's felt like we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for so long for more information about, and trailers and things of that nature, is State of Decay 3. Now, we got the initial teaser trailer, and then we got a more, recently, a more, updated trailer that kind of gave us more information. We still don't have a release date, and so now the question is from that very initial teaser to now and what we've seen so far, what are the things that we know now here as we're entering into the last, half of the year? When can we expect this game to come out? What are the things that we're hoping to see in terms of, like, from a gameplay perspective to story perspective? What are the things that we are expecting to see here in State of Decay 3? And I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. This is an article coming to us from Sam Hill of Digital Trends. So guys, while the world zombie obsession isn't as prevalent as it was a few years ago, we're still set to see some serious undead action in the future. Undead Labs has a third entry in its State of Decay series in the works that will surely pit an electric cast of survivors against hordes of wandering undead as they try to rebuild in a brutal world. Each entry of the series so far has included action, adventure, survival horror, stealth, role-playing, and strategy elements, blending genres into an interesting civilization rebuilding, zombie decapitating experience. I think it's important to note, guys, that we still don't have a lot of details of what State of Decay 3 gameplay will look like, but we have a couple of awesome trailers that got released. It's definitely one of our most anticipated upcoming Xbox Series X games. Same here. I definitely agree. So let's talk about some speculation here, guys. Take everything that you're about to hear with a pinch of salt. So let's get into the release date. So neither Undead Labs nor Microsoft has announced a release date for State of Decay 3, which means it will be a while before we see the much anticipated sequel. The cinematic trailer premiered at the Xbox Game Showcase in July of 2020. The game was in the early pre-production stages. A second trailer dropped during the Xbox Game Showcase in June of 2024 and included cinematics with more characters and a brief look at some combat gameplay. We're predicting a mid to late 2025 release, though there's ultimately no way to know for sure until we hear more from the developers. The way I look at it, guys, is definitely Undead Labs is ramping up the production from, obviously 2020 to 2024, they've been working a lot on this game, and it gives me a lot of excitement and a little bit of some pause for a couple of reasons. Number one is there's a lot of excitement there because when you think of the initial trailer to the newest trailer that came out this year, you have 4 years there. And so they've been working on this game for the last 4 years. So where there's excitement is, okay, this game is probably larger than any State of Decay game ever. So it's probably the largest State of Decay game that's ever been made. So that's number one. Number two, they've been able to really work on like the kinks and maybe any bugs, glitches, things of that nature, and really make sure that the story to the way the game feels to maybe any multiplayer experiences, all those things are working and clicking on all cylinders. Now, where I get some pause in this is from 2020 to 2024, you've got 4 years. And obviously there was some talk that there was, some development hell issues behind the scenes at Undead Labs, that a lot of creative differences, workplace issues, things of that nature were kind of coming out. And a lot of those things were rumors. There were some, people that used to work for Undead Labs that were saying some things about, just the working conditions and things of that nature. So you got to take all that stuff with a pinch of salt. But where I get concerned about it is it's taken this long, and maybe this game should have came out like a year or two ago. Like maybe it shouldn't have taken this long for them to make it. And so where I get a little bit concerned is the story fully refined, or are they having a lot of conflicts within the company about the direction they're trying to go and the different, all the different elements to State of Decay that, are they having issues internally? That's where I get a little bit concerned. If you ask me about the release date, I think 2025 could be a possibility, but I think it's more likely we're going to be getting the release in 2026 or 2027. I think that we're definitely probably going to see another trailer next year at the Xbox Game Showcase, and I think that trailer would be like a release date trailer announcing when the game is going to be coming out, and I would assume that it'll probably be coming out in like 2026, probably maybe fall of 26 or maybe 2027. I think it's more reasonable to expect a 2026 release date for this game, but I'll be sure to keep you guys all up to speed as more information comes out about that. In terms of the platforms, guys, well, it's being published by Xbox Game Studio. State of Decay 3 will be available on the Xbox Series X, S, and PC. It will have day one availability on Xbox and PC Game Pass, as well as Xbox Cloud Gaming. The trailers up to this point have been awesome. I've actually really liked the first trailer actually more than the second. The second trailer was pretty cool, but the first one really had a lot of tension. It had a lot of like horror elements to it, and I just absolutely loved the way that they shot that very first initial trailer. The second trailer that came out at the Xbox Game Showcase in 2024 was really good as well. So, I mean, I'm very excited. This is one of my most anticipated games of the future. So in terms of the gameplay, guys, this is another thing that people ask all the time. Well, we haven't seen any gameplay, or we haven't seen a lot of gameplay details yet, but we're assuming that the core of State of Decay 3 will look a lot like its predecessors, controlling a small community of survivors. Players will comb the map for supplies to survive, other lost folks to recruit to their community, and plague hearts to destroy. A few things fans expect to get an overhaul are the game's base building system, which was a little clunky in State of Decay 2, a bit more character development, and more robust customization options for weapons, cars, clothes, etc. While the characters of State of Decay 2 had plenty of background stories to share and quirky one-liners that gave them a bit of life, there was virtually no change to characters throughout the game, and very few instances where characters seriously bonded. If a long-standing member of the community got taken out by a stray plague zombie, the rest of the crew would have low morale for a day or so and maybe speak a single remorseful line, but then it was back to business. As mentioned, this is the first time that the State of Decay games have moved into the wilderness. Given the survival elements of the games, that means that the third installment would see weather as a key factor, and it may affect how shelters are built or warmed. In a recent podcast, Xbox Game Studio head Matt Booty revealed that State of Decay 3 is being made in Unreal Engine 5 with the assistance of Gears of War developer The Coalition, meaning that the new entry in the series will be visually stunning whenever it releases. There are also signs pointing to the game featuring more cinematic cutscenes than previous entries. Undead Labs has been spotted collaborating with other XGS teams on animation work. So a couple of things I'm really excited about here in terms of the gameplay. I think that the gameplay could very well be more versatile than any other State of Decay game to date. And with Undead Labs working with the Gears of War developer, The Coalition does a really good job of like world building. They do a really good job of like, just from a graphics perspective. I mean, you look at Gears of War E-Day, which we're going to be talking about here on the show later. I mean, just the graphics alone look incredible. The character models and all of that. So whatever the Coalition is doing here with Undead Labs, I'm really, really excited to see what that final, product looks like. Guys, the multiplayer, State of Decay 2 was mainly a solo venture, but there were plenty of ways to play with friends or join in on strangers' games. After you start a campaign, you could have a friend join you, taking over another survivor in your community. There were a few limitations to the system, though. The incoming player would be tethered to the host, meaning if the second player strayed too far away, they would black screen and return to an area close to the host. So there was no room for completely separate exploration on the same map, and the tethering system made quick getaways from zombie hordes a little too easy in some cases. Players could also use the in-game radio to put out a call for help on the State of Decay servers, inviting any other player to online to jump in and play on your map. There was also cross-platform play enabled between Xbox and PC players. It's safe to assume that State of Decay 3 will have similar multiplayer options in place One option that we believe was missing from its predecessor was truly shared servers. Building up a community with your friend that you both could access at any time would be great, as opposed to having a buddy jump into a map you owned. It was never very fun to put in work on someone's community and level up a survivor only to log on to your own game and be back at square one. 100% agree. I think one of the things with the multiplayer experience that they could really improve on, I think, adding other like game modes to the multiplayer experience in State of Decay 3, I think would be awesome, because I just think having multiple ways to connect with this universe, it'll bring people back to the experience over and over again. And what they did with State of Decay 2 was okay, but I think that they could do a lot better. In State of Decay 3, there were a lot of bugs and glitches and things of that nature in State of Decay 2's multiplayer experience. And so between adding new game modes to the multiplayer, making it a lot easier with having people join you and join your community and stuff that are friends of yours, that could be a really exciting experience. And then, of course, guys, the DLC. Well, State of Decay 2 saw a handful of DLCs during its lifetime. Each one introduced a handful of new weapons, vehicles, outfits, and facility mods to the game, spicing up the game a bit. The final DLC, titled Heartland, brought players back to Trumbull Valley, the original setting of State of Decay, for a more story-based game mode. In Heartland, players choose from two sets of starting characters who have traveled to Trumbull Valley for different reasons. Both pairs of survivors are on a mission to find people important to them, characters who appeared in the original State of Decay. The DLC also introduced the largest base site in the game, Blood Plague Freaks. Freaks are superpowered zombies with special abilities in the base game. Now they can infect you with a Blood Plague too, and answers to questions about how exactly the Blood Plague came to be. So, guys, I think that there is no doubt that we are surely going to see a handful of DLC in State of Decay 3. So overall, guys, look, here's the deal. I'm really excited, to say the least, about State of Decay 3. I think there are a lot of things to really be excited about here, and I'll be sure to give you all more information as we go, whether it's about, DLC. We're going to be finding out stuff like this probably, after the game releases, but from the gameplay to the multiplayer to the different characters, all those different things, I think we're going to be finding out more information, especially in 2025, including a release date in 2025, and hopefully we get the game in 2025 or 2026. But let me know, guys, what do you all think about all the things that we know at this point in time about State of Decay 3? What are the things you're excited about? What are the things that you're a little bit concerned about? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more State of Decay 3 content and videos, keep it right here.